Time to unwrap the 2022 NHL trade deadline with help from our friends at Upper Deck. There is the setup. Our hardworking crew comes in. It's like a NASCAR pit stop in here. They set it up, beautiful display, and allows us to do this. So we're talking trade deadline, some of the big names on the move. So first up, Claude Giroux. 1,000 games in that sweater. Game 1,001 with the Panthers. Nice debut the other night, huh?
Fabulous. Was that rigged? Be honest.
What?
You just came up with a Claude Giroux randomly. That's incredible.
Just, yep, absolutely random.
Yeah, because I watched you open that pack.
Yep. Okay, you going to give me more than that?
I thought he kicked off his debut lovely.
He did.
With an assist on that play. You missed it. You weren't watching.
Yeah, I was watching.
Couple of
broke it down last night live.
He kicked that one up.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. A lot said Claude Giroux gets points in a game.
Yeah, that was a really big surprise. Hey, you know what? All these guys, we forget about it. Yes, they're playing for the Stanley Cup, and they're thrilled if they got traded from a team that maybe wasn't going to be competing to the Cup going to another, but they're also playing for jobs. Claude Giroux is going to be playing somewhere next year, and he's going to need a new contract. And so many players out there, and we just talked to Scott Wedgwood. I mean, he's playing for a contract. All these guys are. There's a lot to play for at this time of year.
Stanley Cup, too, right?
They're all playing for the Cup, but they all have other motives as well.
Yeah, Giroux's got to feel like a rookie again, though. I mean, you play 1,000 games with one organization. You don't know anything else. You only know one way to go into the rink, and you know everybody in the arena in Philadelphia, and you know all the way to the locker room. You just know the whole step. You know everybody. He's been there so long. The captain of the team. You go to a new organization. I mean, I've moved organization to organization, and there's always that giddiness, that excitement. But for him, he's got to feel like he's 20 years old again, starting fresh with it.
He said it was like the first day of school.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect comparison.
Quick, J-Mo, tell us how many points per game he averages in 1,000 games.
Ooh.
It was a round number.
0.75?
It was a round number.
Oh, one? No.
No, it's 960 or?
No. He had 900 points in 1,000 games.
Oh, wow.
We do simple math here at NHL Network.
That was not a simple question. All right, this next one, we've got a pair of guys. We've got a Queen of Clubs, and then we've got Nicholas Deslauriers right here.
There you go.
Flower and Deslauriers, one Vegas, one Anaheim, both now Minnesota Wild. Flower, we're still waiting for his debut. They announced they're going to give him a couple more days to officially pack up and ease that transition with his family to St. Paul. Meanwhile, Deslauriers, we talked about Scott Wedgwood, his debut. He had the game winner in his first game with the Wild. What do you make of these two additions?
I think both of them are going to be fantastic, obviously for very, very different reasons. Deslauriers is going to add a little bit more toughness, or should I say a lot more toughness. And Marc-Andre Fleury, I think Cam Talbot has played great in the 2 games since he got there. Sometimes people need to be pushed, reader, because I didn't think Cam Talbot was necessarily playing great before that. So that's a great response. Now, when Fleury gets in there, I think he's going to play great, too.
Nothing like having inner competition amongst your team. And obviously, Bill Guerin felt that Cam Talbot needed a little push as well. Otherwise, you don't go out and get Marc-Andre Fleury. I think it's like, okay, we've got to be better at this position. And that's why, Florida goes out and gets Claude Giroux. We want to be better at scoring. We want to make sure our depth is better. Marc-Andre Fleury brings an element to this team that Cam Talbot, you want to have the net. And good for Cam Talbot. First game with Marc-Andre Fleury on the bench, he gets a shutout. Gives the team the luxury to say, Flower, you go back home to Chicago, get everything in order, and you can meet us on the weekend. I thought that was a real classy move. But because Cam Talbot's play. And when you've got two guys, even like I had Joe Nieuwendyk and Mike Modano in Dallas. You had Peter Forsberg and Joe Sakic. You know what it's like. When you got two guys who want to be the best, and it's an inner competition, and nobody's unhappy the other guy's doing well, but you guaranteed, of those 4 guys, each guy wants to be better than the other guy. It's just human nature. It's just what you do.
You're not competing against them, you're competing with them.
Yeah, right? and you're competing really against yourself, but I can do that. He got 1, I'm going to get 2. Oh, he got 2, I'm going to get 3. So goaltender goes out, all right, I'm going to do this. So I think it's fantastic. That's where good teams become great teams, when it's that inner competition in practice and head-to-head. Best of friends, but there's nothing like a little ping-pong match going back and forth. Even in ping-pong, you want to be the best.
Yeah, we did it the other day, half hour before the show, dripping on air. That's how competitive that one got. How about this one? Speaking of debuts, Hampus Lindholm last night making his debut on the back end for the Boston Bruins. We were speculating whether or not he'd be playing with McAvoy. Would they split them up to play a maximum number of minutes? Well, paired up on the top pair together, how do you think that one went?
Fabulous. I think it's this, to me, is probably the most impactful acquisition of anybody, to be honest with you, and partly because he's going to be doing it for the next 8 years with the Boston Bruins, too. It's not just a rental situation. It's so hard to find a quality top 4D in this league, Reader, and to think you can go out and acquire one and then sign him for 8 years. He's still relatively young. That deal might get rough in the last couple of years, but 6 years, like, who cares? This is a great move by the Boston Bruins. He was the belle of the ball for me. By far, I think he'll be the most impactful player, and it just happens to coincide with the Boston Bruins, who were on a heater themselves before he got there. Well, they're going to be even better. We saw that against the Tampa Bay Lightning without a Bergeron even. So it'll be an unbelievable return for the Boston Bruins.
How does that change their chances in the East? They were a good team, but nobody was really saying, ooh, Boston, you know.
Look
but now with Lindholm.
Now you have Hampus Lindholm, who can defend, he can create offense, and he's going to be on the ice 26 minutes a game.
Right.
You know, and in big games, probably even more. Yeah. And it's going to take a lot of pressure off Charlie McAvoy. You're probably going to see Charlie McAvoy's game elevate in certain situations. If they're playing together, you might see McAvoy's offense pick up. More opportunity to rush up the ice, knowing that Lindholm's back there. I think it's a terrific move. Don Sweeney hit out of the park on this one.
Yeah, really a great.
And then to sign him for a team-friendly contract like that for 8 years, the way he skates and with his size, he's going to be around a long time because he is such a fluid skater. And you know, it's funny, you don't. Everybody in the East, you don't see a lot of the West. You don't see a lot of Hampus Lindholm, and hasn't had a lot of playoff experience. You don't see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of that this year, everybody in the East, and you're going to be, wow, I didn't realize this guy was that good. You have to, like we see the games. You're watching. It's like I was shocked when Anaheim was like Pat Verbeek said, no, we're not going to go more than 5 years. I was like, wow, you're going to trade this guy? Like there's 31 other teams in the league who are putting their hand up going, we'll take him, we'll take him.
To be fair to Beaker, I think he just had a couple of guidelines he wanted to have in place. That was one of them. You know, the deal itself wasn't really that complicated. It's a very familiar deal around the NHL. When you see these guys sign 8 years, it's generally $52 million and $6.5 million AAV. When you have a quality player, that's a great deal for the player because he gets security, and it's a great deal for the team because the AAV is low enough where it doesn't damage your salary cap position. So good for everyone, for sure. And, of course, Anaheim got an excellent return for him as well.
Speaking of defensemen playing in the West, now coming to the East, and, again, completely random here. Mark Giordano, longtime captain of the Calgary Flames, one season, not even one complete season, with Seattle. He knew he was going to be moved. What do you make of him going to Toronto, another team that needed to bolster their back end?
Yeah, I have a little story for everyone. This is a Cinderella story for me. A guy that was never drafted in the National Hockey League eventually makes his way back home, and maybe, just maybe, he can help a team that can't get off the schneid in terms of winning playoff rounds. What a story that would be, Reader. He can still play.
I agree with you. I think it's great, and happy. I love those stories. Mark Giordano, Toronto kid, had a fantastic career in Calgary, and the key to that is not drafted. I mean, he came in and he has earned. You know, you get drafted, your first-round pick, second-round pick. You're going to get time to make mistakes. You're not drafted. No. You've got to show up every single day and be at your best every day, and that still may not be good enough.
Didn't he bet on himself and go to the KHL for 1 year?
Yeah,
and then
he did.
Come back.
And
so
then he came back. And now he's got an opportunity to play in his hometown of Toronto. I grew up in Toronto. I was fortunate enough I had 3 years to play there. It was really cool to be able to put on the blue and white, even though they put black and white on. That's another story. But to put on the blue and white and have the leaf on your chest. So I think for Mark Giordano, it's great. And the whole hockey thing, it's exactly what the Leafs needed. They needed to shore up their D with Jake Muzzin out. Jake Muzzin comes back to the playoffs. You've got Giordano and Brody, who played together forever when he won the Norris Trophy in Calgary. And then you've got Morgan Riley, and you've got Jake Muzzin. You've got 4 really solid, experienced veteran defensemen, which is what the Leafs are going to need come playoffs.
Newsflash, Toronto's coming up next year. They're going to go with orange and yellow for their jersey.
I love it. They asked him on NHL Now because they had Mark Giordano on there, like, oh, you know, hometown kid coming back, waiting all this time to wear the blue and white, and then he walks in the dressing room, and they had those next-gen jerseys. Yeah, and it was, I mean, not quite the reaction you had, but it was like, oh, okay. This is a little different.
Yeah.
What's
Good
not
for
different?
him. Good for him. See, he's a traditionalist, too. He grew up in blue and white, not black and white.
You're a traditionalist. I know you like doing this, unwrapping these cards. So let's unpack them And let's friendly competition here. That's a nice tear.
Thank you. When you work
better
out,
than your
easy.
knee. Yeah. Who's got the best card? Throw it down. Ooh.
I went right to a shark.
Wow. I got a lot of goalies.
I got a wing.
What do you got? What do you got?
I got a Blackhawk.
I think mine trumps everybody. I got Vasilevsky.
I got a Harvard man. No.
What do you mean, no? It's the best goalie in the world.
I've got a Patrick Kane, who's got a new celly.
Pretty sure.
You're watching him heat it up as he's been on fire lately.
What is it?
I haven't figured out what it is. It's kind of like I don't know. I'm not quite sure what that is.
I got Philip Forsberg. Philip Forsberg.
He's on a tear.
He won some goals.
100 points.
And then if you're not happy with Philip Forsberg scoring, I got Elias Pettersson. He can shoot him pretty good too. So I got a lot of goals in those two guys. And then I got a Duncan Keith. You want to come up from what is this? This is Hundo P.
Huh? I got a Jack Campbell.
I like you. You got the goalies.
I know. I
got the scoring. So I'm putting my and Kako. Here you go.
Couple of Canes right here.
I got Kako. I got a line right here. I got Pettersson, Forsberg, and a Kako. That's pretty good. And I got Nick Leddy on the back end and Duncan Keith. Beat that. I don't have a goalie though. I'll trade you.
I got three of them. I got Martin Jones as well.
Oh, hold on. I got Heiskanen. I'm moving Nick Leddy and I'm putting Heiskanen in there. I'll trade you Philip Kurashev for a goaltender.
Yeah. You guys could do a 3-hour show on just opening cards. Unfortunately, we got to go.
I'm going to beat you up. I'll beat you up with Marcus Foligno.
We're going to take a time out here.
NHL Tonight. Marcus Foligno with
I got a Dave Reed back.
Hey, the Capitals trying to end the 2-game losing streak against the Sabres. Not going to be easy. Buffalo on a tear right now. They've won 3 in a row.
Unwrap is presented by Upper Deck. UpperDeckEPack.com lets you buy, open, and collect your favorite hockey cards from anywhere at any time. Get a free pack every day just for logging on. Visit UpperDeckEPack.com today.